Repeat this word after me. Wohin. Wohin, which means to where. Wohin. The word wohin indicates a place where you are going to. So you must use wohin whenever you are referring to a direction where something is going to. For example, in the expression, where are you going? We would say in German, to where are you going? We are talking about a movement from A to B, for example. Don't worry, because we are going to study this in depth, and this is very easy topic in German. Repeat after me. Zur Uni. Zur Uni, which means to the university. Zur Uni. Auch. Auch, which means also, to, auch. In the first class, I have told you that the letter combination CH has 3 different pronunciations. The first of the pronunciations of this letter combination is called soft CH, which is made by placing the tongue between the upper molar teeth, like in the word ich, which means I. So you have to put your tongue between the upper molar teeth and pronounce like in ich. Another pronunciation is the guttural CH that is emitted in the throat. It sounds like the sound of dog makes. This sound is also emitted when you gargle with some liquid, like in the word auch, or the word nach, as in the expression nach Hause. We are going to learn something very important in German, how to ask questions. In an affirmative sentence, the subject usually comes before the verb. Subject plus verb. For example, I go to the university. You translate in German to Ich fahre zur Uni. Note that the person ich, which means I, comes before the verb fahre, which means go, just as in English. However, in interrogative sentences, the verb comes before the subject. Verb plus subject. For example, if I ask, do I go to university? You have to translate into German, fahre ich zur Uni? Note that the person ich, I, comes after the verb fahre, go. In English, we use do or does as question words when you want to ask yes or no questions. But in German, simply invert the subject with the verb and you'll have a question in this case. So in German, when asking questions, the verb comes before the person. Just change the person and the verb of place. How do you say in German, good morning, Klaus? Guten Tag, Klaus. Guten Tag, Klaus. Where are you going to? Wohin fährst du? Wohin fährst du? So in this case you have to use the word wohin because you have here in direction, and you have to invert the person and the verb of place because you have a question. So, wohin fährst du? Where to are you going? How do you say in German, where do I go? Wohin fahre ich? Wohin fahre ich? Where does she go? Wohin fährt sie? Wohin fährt sie? Hello, Maria. I go to the university. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. He goes home. Note that in German we'll have to put the preposition nach before home, as we learned earlier. Er fährt nach Hause. Er fährt nach Hause. In German, the word also, which means auch, always comes after the verb. How do you say then in German, she also goes home? Sie fährt auch nach Hause. Sie fährt auch nach Hause. How do you say in German? He also goes to the university. Er fährt auch zur Uni. Er fährt auch zur Uni. Two new German expressions are the following. Repeat after me. Ins Kino. Ins Kino, which means to the movies. Ins Kino. Zur Post. Zur Post, which means to the post office. Zur Post. So, how do you say in German? Where are you going to? Wohin fährst du? Wohin fährst du? I go to the movies. Ich fahre ins Kino. Ich fahre ins Kino. He goes to the movies. She goes to the post office. Er fährt ins Kino. Sie fährt zur Post. Er fährt ins Kino. Sie fährt zur Post. So, the 5 new words that you have learned in this lesson are the following. Wohin, which means where to. It indicates direction. Auch, which means also, to. Auch comes always after the verb. Ins Kino, which means to the movies. Zur Uni, which means to the university. Zur Post, which means to the post office. In the previous lesson, you have learned some important expressions. You have learned that the verb comes before the subject in interrogative sentences. That is, when you ask questions. And that the word auch, which means also, too, comes after the verb. Let's do a brief recap of these concepts to fix them in your long-term memory. So, how do you say in German, where are you going to by car? Wohin fährst du? Wohin fährst du? I go to the post office by car. Ich fahre zur Post. Ich fahre zur Post. Where does she go by car? Wohin fährt sie? Wohin fährt sie? Remember that the word where to, wohin, indicates direction. He also goes to the movies by car. Remember also that the word auch, also, always comes after the verb in German. Er fährt auch ins Kino. Er fährt auch ins Kino. Your first word in this lesson is the following. Repeat after me. Gehen. Gehen. Which means to go on foot. To go or to walk. Gehen. We have already learned that fahren means to go by a vehicle. In German, instead, the verb gehen means to go on foot or to go walking. That is, in German we have a verb that indicates movement by a vehicle, the verb fahren, and a verb that indicates movement on foot, walking, the verb gehen. Repeat after me. Sie, geht. Sie, geht. Which means he, she goes on foot. Sie, geht. 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 Which means you go on foot. Geht. Note that the word ihr means both of you, referring to more than one person, and has the same ending as in and sie, or he, she. The ending is with the letter P. Du is the singular second person pronoun, and ihr is the plural second person pronoun, and they both translate to you in English. That is, both of these words mean you in English. So, if you were talking to one person, you should use du. And if you were talking to more than one person or to a group of people, you should use ihr. So, du means you, one person, and ihr means you, referring to more than one person or a group of people. From now on, to make it easier for you to translate the sentences, I will put in parentheses if the person is going on foot or by a vehicle. Remember to translate go on foot with gehen and go by vehicle with fahren, conjugated in their respective persons. So how do you say in German, where does Hans go on foot? Wohin geht Hans? Wohin geht Hans? He goes to the movies on foot or walking. Er geht ins Kino. Er geht ins Kino. Where does Petra go on foot? Wohin geht Petra? Wohin geht Petra? She goes to the post office on foot. Sie geht zur Post. Sie geht zur Post. Hello, Maria. I go to the university on foot. Hallo, Maria. Ich gehe zur Uni. Hallo, Maria. Ich gehe zur Uni. Hello, Maria. I go to the university by car. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. Repeat after me. Wir gehen. Wir gehen, which means we go on foot. Wir gehen. Sie gehen. Sie gehen. They go on foot. Sie gehen. The personal pronoun sie can be singular or plural. That is, sie means she or they. The person will be recognized through the ending of the verb. Note that when you refer to she, it has a T ending in German. However, if sie refers to they, the verb ending is in en, like the unconjugated verb. So she goes, sie geht. They go means sie gehen. So how do you say in German, she goes to the movies on foot? Sie geht ins Kino. Sie geht ins Kino. They go to the movies on foot. Sie gehen ins Kino. Sie gehen ins Kino. So, the 5 new words that you have learned in this lesson are the following. Gehen, which means to go on foot. Ihr geht, which means you go on foot. Sie gehen, which means they go on foot. Sie geht, which means he, she, or it goes on foot. Wir gehen, which means we go on foot. In the previous lesson, we learned that in German the verb to go can be translated as gehen, to go on foot, or fahren, to go by a vehicle. We have also learned to conjugate the verb gehen in the present tense. Let's do some exercise with gehen now. In the resources for this class, you'll find the conjugation of the verb fahren end of the verb gehen. You can download these resources and study or copy them to do the exercises. In the resources of the last class, you can download the conjugation of all the verbs that have been taught in this first German course. If you want to download everything at once, I recommend you to go to the last class and download its resources. So, how do you say in German, where are you going? On foot. Note that the word you is referring to a group of people. Wohin geht ihr? Wohin geht ihr? Where does Claudia go on foot? Wohin geht Claudia? Wohin geht Claudia? We go to the post office on foot. Wir gehen zur Post. Wir gehen zur Post. They go to the movies on foot. Sie gehen ins Kino. Sie gehen ins Kino. Repeat this new word after me. Machen. Machen. Which means to do. Machen. Note that the letter combination CH in the word machen have the guttural sound. Repeat again after me. Machen. Machen. Du machst. Du machst. Which means you do. You are doing. Du machst. The German verbs in the present tense apply to both the present tense and the present continuous tense. So, this expression, du machst, can be translated both as you do and you are doing. The same goes for the other verbs. However, we'll study this throughout the course. Pay attention to my advices. Repeat after me. Was. Was. Which means what. Was. We already learned that wie means how, and now we are learning that was means what. Note that the letter W in German has a V sound. Repeat again after me. Was. Was. So, how do you say in German, what are you doing? Remember to invert the person and the verb in interrogative sentences or questions. Was machst du? Was machst du? How do you say I go home by car? Ich fahre nach Hause. Ich fahre nach Hause. What? Was? Was? He goes to the post office by car. Er fährt zur Post. Er fährt zur Post. Hello, Maria. I go to the university by car. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. Hallo, Maria. Ich fahre zur Uni. Repeat after me. Ich gehe. Ich gehe, which means I go on foot. Ich gehe. Sie macht. Sie macht, which means he, she does, or she is doing. Sie macht. How do you say in German? I go home on foot. Ich gehe nach Hause. Ich gehe nach Hause. Remember that the present continuous and the simple present tenses in German translate the same way. Translate is doing with macht. So how do you say in German, what is she doing? Was macht sie? Was macht sie? So the 5 new words that we have learned in this lesson are the following. Machen, which means to do. Was, which means what. Sie macht, which means he, she does, or he, she is doing. Du machst, which means you do, or you are doing. Ich gehe, which means I go, or I am going. In this lesson, we'll learn some regular verbs, that is, verbs that follow a pattern in their conjugation. We are going to review the personal pronouns and the conjugation of the verb gehen, which means to go on foot. The verb gehen, to go on foot, to walk, is a regular verb with the following endings. Memorize these endings, since 99% of German verbs are regular and conjugated with the same endings of gehen. Note that the first and third persons in the plural form are the same as the unconjugated verb. The above endings that are highlighted in bold are from regular verbs. When a verb is regular, simply remove the ending en from the verb and place the ending of the person being conjugated. Well, let's do the following exercise. I'm going to read the sentences in English and you read back to me in German, okay? Just follow this template. How do you say in German? I go to the university. Ich gehe zur Uni. You go home. Du gehst nach Hause. He, she goes to the post office. Sie geht zur Post. We go to the university. Wir gehen zur Uni. You go home. Ihr geht nach Hause. They go to the post office. Sie gehen zur Post. So you have the regular verb conjugation here. Repeat after me. Ich gehe, Du gehst, sie geht. Wir gehen, ihr geht, sie gehen. Repeat this word after me. Wo. Wo, which means where. Wo. In the last lessons, we learned the word wohin, which means where to, or to where in German. Now we have the word wo, which means where, referring to a place. For example, wohin gehst du, which means where are you going to, and it indicates movement. However, when I am asking about the location or place of a person or object, I would use wo. For example, wo ist er? Where is he? It indicates a place. I just want to know the place where the object or the person is. It does not indicate movement. German is very specific when it comes to position, but don't worry because we are going to study this topic in depth during our course. Repeat this new word after me. Jetzt. Jetzt, which means now. Jetzt. Wohnen. Wohnen, which means to live. Wohnen. Wohnen is a regular verb, so you have to conjugate this verb as gehen, to go on foot. In der. In der, which means in the. In der. Drei. Drei, which means three. Drei. So how do you say in German, what are you doing now? Was machst du jetzt? Was machst du jetzt? I go home by car. In this case, you have to use the preposition to home in German. Ich fahre nach Hause. Ich fahre nach Hause. What is Hans doing now? Was macht Hans jetzt? Was macht Hans jetzt? He goes to the movies by car. Er fährt ins Kino. Er fährt ins Kino. Where do you live? Wo wohnst du? Wo wohnst du? I live in the Riedweg 3. Ich wohne in der Riedweg 3. Ich wohne in der Riedweg 3. Where does Claudia live? Wo wohnt Claudia? Wo wohnt Claudia? In this case, the word where indicates movement, so use wohin and translate you referring to more than one person. Wohin geht ihr? Wohin geht ihr? We go to the post office on foot. Wir gehen zur Post. Wir gehen zur Post. So, the 5 new words that you have learned in this lesson are the following. Wo, which means where and indicates a place. In there, which means in the. Jetzt, which means now. Wohnen, which means to live. It's a regular verb. En drei, which means 3.